takes years for some to get diagnosed, and physically you feel betrayed by your own body. We heard you talk about that earlier. Mentally, you fight battles others will never get to see. Bring it back to how Lyme disease, you believe anyways, affects pregnancy, fetal development, maybe some, again, jury's still out, notions around congenital Lyme, and whether Lyme can be passed from mother to child, in your opinion.
Yeah, my opinion is the research strongly suggests that there could be transmission. And we have to consider if a mother has active infection, active Lyme within her body on the means of being pregnant, how does that get transferred? They're sharing the same body, they're sharing blood exchange. How are those Lyme spirochetes interacting with the child's development and ultimately their long-term immune system? So I do think it's something to ponder. And I hope that we put more money into researching and having proof that this is the case. In 1985, Dr. McDonald found proof that Lyme bacteria was present in a stillborn fetal. And I do think that is something that really persuaded or gave me the gut reaction that I need to seek alternative means of having children. So I want obviously more research out there to present more proof. This is a bit dated, but fascinating that it took place that long ago.
Sure. I want to point out, as I sort of teased earlier, IGeneX, IGENEX. It's a lab. I think they've got it right. In fact, what we're looking at is their front website page at igenex.com, and this whole dissertation on Lyme disease in children, which is the latest advancements in diagnosing and treating and testing. And you can watch this incredible presentation. And the association, actually, they're bringing up with PANS and PANDAS and autoimmunity and so forth. It's wonderful stuff by Dr. Joseph and Dr. Nancy, and these guys are worthwhile watching, along with the book in hand, by the way, by Kenzie. You got to get that book. But I wanted to establish what you had spoken about earlier, and acknowledge this is not just about a lab test diagnoses. Yes, we can get the right testing done, and I think it's them. But what establishes a healthy immune system, both in mom and newborn, infant? Bring us through that. It's really important to understand this from a holistic perspective.
So I'll just start with the caveat where, mid-1800s, there was Louis Pasteur, the germ theory of disease, which has sort of carried on into this current age as the predominant model. At the same time, there's another, biologist, Antoine Béchamp, also French, who said, no, it's not the germ, it's not the bacteria, it's not the virus, it's your body's terrain, your body's capacity to regulate itself, to defend itself, to overcome whatever challenges come along. So from that context, now we jump to today, and we know 80% of the immune system is wrapped around the intestinal tract, large intestine, small intestine. 80% of the lymph nodes, the headquarters, the stations for the immune system are there. What are they? Why are they there? Because of the microbiome. That's where the internal body reacts with the external world. Food comes in, that's our pathway. So the immune system is positioned there to take care of that. If that system, the microbiome, starts drifting off in terms of not the right ecology, other, yeast, bacteria, things that come in there that are not contributing to our health, that are not making metabolites, making vitamins for us, making, immune regulators, then we start losing our capacity to respond to whatever comes along, whether it's Lyme's, another virus, another bacteria. So ultimately, we have to come back to where is our immune system seated? What's the foundation of that immune system from the moment we're born and the umbilical cord is cut and that baby's operating on their own? And the starting point is the microbiome, the health of the intestinal tract. So if we start there, looking at that, that's one way of also helping. It's like a starting point of looking at the root cause of what we can do to overcome any sort of autoimmune immune dysregulation.
In your awareness of, and that's brilliantly said, by the way, it's the host, not the disease typically, and we've learned this from our forefathers, and the whole notion around the health of the whole body, and again, the way I look at this is from largely the lens of genetic predisposition. That's just my area of interest, and we all have different predispositions genetically. Our ability to manage external viral, bacterial exposures, the GALT that we're born into the world with, the gut-associated lymphoid tissue you're alluding to, our exposure to mom's bacteria, the vaginal tract through natural birthing, breast milk, and even the skin to skin. But where I'm going with that is, DNA is a very interesting area. Genetics, you can't change your DNA. But the interesting thing is you can manage genetic expression. So it's not futile. So it doesn't matter what genes you're born with. Environment probably counts for a lot more.
Oh, we know a lot more.
Right. And so, and there's hope out there. But preventive measures, for expectant mothers who themselves may have Lyme, do you encourage is a strong word. Do you suggest that women that are either pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant look into surrogacy as well, or what are your typical teachings in this area, or what did your book talk about as it relates to that?
Yeah, I didn't dive too much into the expecting journey, right? Of being a mother and carrying my kids. It felt like it was a different track. I really focused on the teen years, the impact of mental health that Lyme had on me. I have no idea if either of my parents have been exposed or have Lyme. I'm assuming they have been exposed, but I'd be curious to see if that was even a case. I would say a mother's intuition and instinct of their personal journey is very strong. And if women would just pause and listen to what they think is best for their body and their child, they usually know the answer.
Oh, I love it.
They don't have to seek it through alternative means.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
A large part of our listeners have young kids, and it turns out, and this is sort of where we want to educate them, a large majority of children incidence, anyways, of Lyme disease is in the 5 to 14-year-olds. So the latter part of our 0 to 7, the first 7 years here. But I just want to point out a few statistics in that category. 300,000 and probably more diagnosed each year, but that 25% of new Lyme diseases are in children. We talked about that already with the stats you brought up, Dr. Murray. 50% are common tests your children receives as the doctor misses Lyme is 30 to 50%. So that's where the testing comes in. So genes don't dictate everything. Tests don't dictate everything. It's important that you understand what symptoms your child's bringing along.